What's up, everybody? JDB Sports here. Alex, obviously, with Peyton. Going
We
on,
back.
everybody? Hey, we're back with the AFC South Edition going on. So, without further ado, Peyton, you want to hit that breaking news before we head into it?
Yeah, coming within the last couple hours here, Kirk Cousins actually being retained as an Atlanta Falcon. Saw some teams showing some interest in him, specifically the Pittsburgh Steelers, actually, amid their quarterback frenzy, trying to get a deal done with whoever they can at this point. He stays on. His signing bonus hits for 10 million this year, and he'll be due for a full cap hit for another year with the team option next year. And then two other pieces of breaking news. Actually, Chidobe Awuzie, starting corner for the Titans. He recently got released, and that's actually a solid corner that I would look out for on the free agency market. Should demand about a $5-7 million deal for a year, in my estimation. And then the final one is Aaron Rodgers. Reports leaking of him wanting 33 mil annually, and his preference is to go to the Minnesota Vikings. How do you feel about that one, Alex?
33 mil a year for a freaking old quarterback? Nah, I'm good. Hell no.
Yeah.
His preference is to go to the Vikings. What's he could pull Brett Favre? Is he trying to follow his shoes directly or what? Like, what's going on?
I think at this point it might be the case. Looking at a team, I mean, it would be his best choice in all totality. It's the Steelers, the Giants, or the Vikings at this point. And I'm not saying he's wrong for choosing one. I'm saying he's wrong in the head for demanding that annually.
Man's going back off on his trips. So, without further ado, let's get into these Texans. They have 13 mil in cap space left, good for 26th in the league. My opinion and their needs are, a good playmaking wide receiver outside of Christian Kirk, and some O line really to help keep Stroud upright. They signed Mario Edwards Jr. He's an effective run stuffer, good rotational piece for the most part. He's returning to a Texan. He's returning to the Texans on a 2-year, $9.5 million deal.
Solid bargain.
Yeah, we also got MJ Stewart, backup safety, not expected to have a role outside of special teams. Texans are bringing him back on a 1-year deal this year. So, we also got Laken Tomlinson. I've been informed that he's a bum. The Texans are bringing back Tomlinson on a 1-year deal worth $4 million, so I guess not too crazy of a deal. You're not backing up the Brinks truck for him, but one of the lower paid guards. He'll be competing for the starting role with the Texans just trading starter Kenyon Green to the Eagles. So
Revamp that whole line. And I mean, yeah, the Lake and being a bum and everything like that. I definitely think it could be a good piece down the line if they get some Pro Bowl productivity out of him like previous years past. But seeing how he was with the Seahawks O line last year and how demonstrative that unit was as far as like just reeking goes, I wouldn't expect anything much.
okay, well, Tato, thanks for liking up the live on TikTok. We appreciate you. Number
Oh
one
yeah.
supporter. All right, so we also got Darrell Taylor. The Texans agreed to terms with the former Chicago Bears defensive end on a 1-year deal worth about $5 million. Depth signing that shows flashes of being able to get to the quarterback.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I can really say about him. Nothing crazy. He's not like Lil Mack or Lawrence Taylor or anything crazy like that. I mean, those are two wild ends, but we'll talk about it. Braxton Berrios too is also coming on a 1-year, $2 million contract, coming off a torn ACL though, which I think is what also made him cheaper. I mean, he's just a special teamer, really getting some work at depth receiver. Maybe we'll see. It's a low risk, medium reward type of move. A lot of people are speculating that he won't come back to, he won't go back to that form or he tore his ACL, but we'll see.
Yeah, definitely a solid return man for him. I think that Houston Texans special teams unit and their defense is really good in general. The only blemish on their record was against the Chiefs in the playoffs, really, as far as last year goes. So something to improve there for sure.
And that O line, we don't need to talk about that one. Last year at least. Sheldon Rankins, He's joining Houston on a 1 year, $7 million contract. He's basically part of the defensive line overhaul. Not too crazy of a deal, but they're expecting him to be in 2023 form when he was last with the Texans, getting I believe 6 sacks, I believe, on the year. So, um, his last year was kind of hampered with injuries when he was with Cincinnati, but let's just hope he can get back to 2023 form for Houston's sake. If not, it's only $7 million on 1 year, so nothing crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Watson, former Kansas City Chiefs receiver, comes to Houston on a 1 year deal. I don't really have too much to say about him other than, depth signing, nothing crazy. What do you
Good
think about him?
utility man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything crazy, but he had some splashes in KC. So
Okay. And Dare Ogunbowale, right? So, did I still butcher it?
all three streams we've said.
I still butchered it.
We
How
said
about
something
that?
different. I'll try to get Dare Agumbawale.
Ogunbowale, all right. He's coming back here on a 1 year deal. Not too much to say about him other than depth signing. Third down running back ish type of player. Really no risk. He doesn't cost much. It doesn't prevent him from drafting the position either. So we'll go ahead and see what they do in the draft as far as that position goes.
Yep.
Last but not least, in the signing department for the Texans, we got Kurt Hinish, defensive tackle, coming back on a 1 year deal. A lot of 1 year deals for the Texans. He's adding more depth at the defensive tackle room, and he's played 42 games in his career with the Texans. There's really no risk. He's on a 1 year deal. He isn't really expected to be a starter. If he does, that can mean he's developed into an impact player, or injuries have put him to the front of the line. So.
Yeah, I think more of a depth piece and everything. Their defensive line is totally juiced, worth of good players and good rotational players as well behind the main front. You get with Will Anderson, you get with the Danielle Hunter, want to talk about departures a little bit and kind of the needs of the Texans. I know you harshed on a little earlier that offensive line as well as that receiving core. Losing out on Diggs and Robert Woods isn't good at all when you don't have a direct replacement. I mean, Justin Watson comes in as a depth piece, but that's not much to the table.
Yeah, that's no Diggs, not even Robert Woods type of signing. But like you said with that line, they traded Laramie Tunsil to the Commanders. Obviously, Commanders fan here, psyched to see it. Love to have him there protecting Jaden Daniels' blind side. But we also got Kendrick Green going to the Bills, Kenyon Green going to the Eagles. Yeah, Green, maybe they're brothers. Who knows? I don't know. Shaq Mason, they're also losing, and again, when they need offensive line help, they're losing. Four of their starters, I believe. Right, they're starters.
Shaq Mason was Kenyon Green and Laramie Tunsil, so 3 of the 5 starters they did have last year, and they haven't done anything really to replace them, in my opinion.
Also, you got on the back end, you got Devin White, which I haven't heard of since Chicago. Jeff Okuda, since I really haven't heard of when he was drafted by the Lions, I believe, and I haven't heard from him.
He's bounced around a little bit. He was with the Falcons and everything, and then came over last off season. I think he got traded over and didn't really impress. So not a huge departure.
Yeah. Also, Eric Murray. He went to the Jaguars, and you got the long snapper John Weeks going to the 49ers.
Tough beans. Let's get to the Colts. You wanna start it off?
22 mil left in cap space. Good for 22nd in the league. We got needs at linebacker for the Colts, in my opinion. Daniel Jones will be competing with AR5 for the starting job. He doesn't get it, in my opinion, but if he does, I don't know, man. 1 year, $14 million to leave the Vikings to go to the Colts. So, how do you feel about the former Giant potentially getting that starting role?
I think it's solid competition. I really like the Colts head coaching staff as far as Shane Steichen goes. I really like their GM as well, putting them in a solid position to succeed at least. I think the Colts have a plethora of options as well. You got Josh Downs, you got Michael Pittman Jr., you got Alec Pierce on the back end as well. But I think Daniel Jones gives him good competition. I don't think he snags that starting job, but he's a competent backup. To a degree. Do you have any other thoughts on that one?
Dude can run as long as he's not getting tricked by the turf monster. That's about it.
That life, no.
Or if he's getting intercepted by cats, but we'll talk about that one. Travarius Ward, a good quarterback signing in my opinion. Cornerback, not quarterback. The biggest commitment of cornerback for this team under Chris Ballard's oversight. A 3-year deal worth $60 million.
Yeah.
Just crazy that he's actually deciding to finally spend money on that back end. Maybe it proves fruitful and they actually do something and win some games this year on defense.
Yeah, because they've had opportunities before to pay really good cornerbacks. You look at Avonte Davis situation, probably about 8 years ago when he was due for a big contract, and they waited it out, didn't pay him. And you see with the new regime and everything, not much has changed in terms of that until this year. And I mean, signing 2 studs, him, and then we'll get to Cam Bynum right now.
Good.
Yeah, one of your guys actually that you really liked in free agency.
Had a
staple
couple
in
teams.
that secondary, yeah.
Had a couple teams wanting to take him. And,
yeah.
Colts needed to address safety this offseason, and they gave up a 69.4 completion percentage last year, 3rd worst. Experts say they should have addressed the safety in the draft, but I believe that this is a decent signing. Bynum had 3 picks, 10 passes defense last season with the Vikings, so overall decent signing. I liked him for a few different teams when we were doing our mocks for the other divisions. So, Corey Ballentine was another good depth signing. The Colts have failed in the past to secure depth. It cost them at times. Former Packer agreed on a 1-year deal.
Yeah.
Neville Gallimore.
Yeah, funny name.
Yeah, something like that. It's Noah Ogumbala. Damn it!
Ogumbawale.
I'm leaving him alone, all right? Ogumbawale. Yeah, I'm leaving him alone, all right. An all right depth piece, had low pass rush win rate, 23.4%, lower than the guy he's replacing with Raekwon Davis. Former Rams lineman signing a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything special, but I mean, their defensive line is pretty good as is, so I don't think it breaks the bank, of course, and I think it's a solid move.
And then Khalil Herbert, depth behind Jonathan Taylor. He needs to work on his receiving out of the backfield, something that, Jonathan Taylor doesn't really have that down pat. Normally, you would have a depth guy, like a 3rd down running back type of guy that's able to catch passes out the backfield. But the fact that they both need to work on it, let's see what they decide to do. He's signing a 1-year deal here. Indianapolis needed to address the running back behind, Taylor.
JT,
so,
yeah, 100%. I don't know, him playing with the Bengals last year, it didn't really impress me in the time without Chase Brown, where he was in the lineup. Zach Moss obviously down for the year with the neck injury.
Zach who? Just kidding.
Zach C. Moss.
Oh,
but
man,
no
Randy Moss.
Yeah. I think the Colts have had a fine free agency. I wish they would have addressed the O-lineman position more, because getting to these departures here, losing Will Fries and losing Ryan Kelly is huge for that offensive
Ryan
line.
Kelly is somebody I've been watching for years since he got drafted. Really like the way he plays, physical. Now he's a Viking, at least it's not in a division, or in their division, like somebody got him. Will Fries too, another Vikings pickup. It seems that the Vikings are having an excellent free agency, but we already covered the AFC North. Well, we did not cover the NFC North yet. But I almost said AFC North like a goon.
They moved,
yeah. Mo Alley Cox, known for his blocking ability and catching the ball when open. I hope you'd be able to catch the ball being a tight end while being open. Kind of like
when open in brackets.
When open, yeah. And Joe Flacco is also another departure, depending on what they do with him. I heard he's gaining some interest with the Giants and the Vikings, I believe, too, right? I know the Browns don't want him.
The Browns don't. I could see him it'd be a gross quarterback room. Throw him in there with Mason Rudolph and let him be a Steeler. I mean, I don't know what their plan is at QB at this point.
I don't think they know what their plan is, because come on, man. Come on. Also, Grant Stewart. There you go. He went to the Lions. not too many departures as some on this list, but big departures nonetheless. You
Yeah.
know, Kylan Granson went to the Eagles too, so I think they're going to need to look at some tight end too. That may be another need for the Colts that we write down.
Yeah, I could see it in the draft. They're not really pigeonholed into picking a position, in my opinion. And with someone, I think the Colts fall in that 14 to 17 range as far as draft picks go. So I could see him trading back a little bit and looking at tight end. You look at either Tyler Warren from Penn State, really solid option, or Colston Loveland from a Michigan. And this offense is a lot better as far as pass catching goes immediately with one of those two. So, yeah, they have a lot of room to work with. I mean, a lot of cap to work with and a lot of work to do. So we'll see.
Yeah, surprisingly, they have a decent amount of money left. But our next team has more money than them, the Jaguars. They're 11th. They're good for 11th in the league, 39.18 mil. So, definitely if you're rounding up, my needs for them are free safety, cornerback, tight end, and one. They signed Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins, career backup, had some stints with the Raiders as 49ers. Just below average at best, really. I mean, it's kind of just one of those guys you just throw in there, kind of like a Josh Johnson or like a time of old Colt McCoy, maybe.
Yeah, no, I really like the Colt McCoy comparison because he could get the job done for a game, and then longer than that, and it's all bad.
Yeah, Colt McCoy did not have did not have too good of arm strength, if I remember correctly. When he had to come in and throw bombs to Deshaun Jackson, he was frequently underthrown. So, noodle arm Colt. But all right,
Colt.
and he's going to back up. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence. They're kind of just signing, for reliability at this point. Johnny Munt, another former Minnesota Viking. Add depth to the tight end room with Evan Ingram being released. His deal is a 2-year, reportedly, 2-year, 5.5 mil deal with a max value of $6 million. 2.25 million. Yeah, 2.25 million guaranteed.
Yeah, solid little depth signing, good blocker and everything. And I think that Liam Cohen brings a lot more of a dynamic passing and rushing attack to this team. I'm really excited for the offense.
Yeah, do your best, Duval. Do it now.
I got to do it like him. It's not the Duval. It's the Duval.
The community. Duval. I can't do it. He's so cringe, man. It's ridiculous. I hope they do something. I hope he does something with them this year to make that Duval worth it. That's probably going to be, if they start winning games, they're gonna back his Duval instead of calling him a cringe.
Oh,
that's the
sure.
man. That's the man right there.
They're gonna Dan Campbell him. They're gonna do a complete 180. They're gonna love his speeches, and he's gonna be the corny guy that the whole league loves.
Really love Dan Campbell as a coach, as a guy. Not gonna sound sus at kissing his feet, the ground that he walks on, but that man's motivational speeches are impactful. I mean, when he lost to the Commanders in the divisional round, he was literally crying on camera in his presser, just trying not to answer questions because how much he loves the team, how much he thought that this was their year. Just I don't know, injuries on that defense finally caught up to him. But Dan Campbell's a guy that I would definitely love to have as a head coach. God forbid if something happens, to DQ or anything like that. He'd be the next head. He's definitely a guy that I want. That I would have wanted per se. Yeah. I like DQ now, but let's go ahead to Hunter Long. I mean, as long as he doesn't do no 28-3, but let's go ahead to Hunter Long over here. 26-year-old fourth-year former Los Angeles Ram tight end reportedly to join the Jaguars to provide depth. 2-year, $5 million deal, $6 million maximum, none guaranteed. That man ain't getting no money guaranteed.
Yeah, I think with a deal like that, Hunter Long's actually shown flashes in a crowded Rams tight end room in the past. You look at a Tyler Higbee, Colby Parkinson, players like that have been on the Rams for shuffling in and out for quite a while now. And I think Hunter Long finally gets a shot at being a starting tight end. I think Johnny Munn will be used more for run and pass blocking, but definitely could think this could pay dividends in the future. So
Yeah, for sure. See what happens. And then, former Washington Commander over here, De'Ami Brown, shown flashes. I said this on Thursday in our stream. He's shown flashes in the last, 6 or 7 weeks as far as the season goes. But the first 3.5 years, nothing. It was constantly overshadowed. He could not beat coverage. He couldn't separate. Just, it wasn't there. I mean, he had a fumble against the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, but I'm not going to fault him too much on that. He was just trying to make too much happen. And I believe that, he just lost sight of what he was doing, fumbled the ball. I mean, he's a solid number 2. I'm not gonna hate on him too much because good receiver. But as far as it being a number 1, I don't think so.
Maybe
Good number 2, number 3, maybe. He's got a 1-year, $10 million deal. 12 mil. Well, worth up to 12 mil with incentives. None guaranteed for him, unfortunately. I'm sure he could have found a better deal than that, but I guess he just decided to go Jaguars for whatever reason. Location. 14 receptions for 229 yards. The Commanders' 3 playoff match. He was really coming out. But we also had a receiver by committee behind Terry. Sometimes it was OZ, sometimes it was, De'Ami, Noah Brown before he got injured.
Yeah. And I mean, most of those yards coming against bad secondaries, the Bucks and the Lions. Nonetheless, though, still impressive doing that in 3 games when your average was much lower from De'Ami in the earlier half of the year. So
also got Eric Murray coming from the Texans and Kansas City Chiefs safety, the former. He agreed to a 3-year, $19.5 million base contract with $12 million guaranteed. He started in 14 games, securing 1 interception, 1 sack, and 75 tackles, 5 QB hits. Serviceable safety in my opinion. He did have some starting time, I believe, didn't he have some starting time in Kansas City, I believe, back when Eric Berry was there and he was out?
Yeah, he played a little bit then, and then he played a little bit alongside Jalen Petrie last year before he went down. And that's when Murray started to perform a little bit better. You saw him expand in his role and things like that.
All right. And not much to speak about Patrick McCarry. The Jaguars reportedly reached an agreement with, the versatile Baltimore Ravens guard. He's been a foundational Swiss Army knife up front for the Baltimore Ravens, playing over 500 snaps at right and left tackle in prior seasons. He can do it all.
Yeah, he really can. And he put on full display last year that his best position might be left guard. So signing him as probably, I would say, the top available left guard in the class. Maybe you put Ben Bredesen in there. Maybe you put an Aaron Banks in there. But I think he was one of the best left guards in the class.
He gave up 1 sack last year. It's reportedly a 3-year deal worth $37.5 million. The contract has a maximum value of $39 million with just over $20 million guaranteed. So, I really downplayed him. Not much to say about him. There's a lot to say about him. That man's a Swiss Army knife. Let's go with the one that I've been looking at for a while now from the Cowboys, Chuma Aduga. Yeah. Let's go.
Foundational building block for the Jags. Speak on it.
The former Cowboys swing tackle reportedly being brought in to likely complete a similar role with Javon Foster and Cole Van Lanen. He started 10 games over the past 2 seasons for the Cowboys, reportedly getting a 2-year, $7 million contract with $3.2 million guaranteed. Nice younger option at the position. Like the signing, I actually really do, because I wanted him to go. I believe when we did our edition last week. What team was it?
It was probably one of the Bengals or someone like that.
Yeah, I think it was the Bengals, because then we talked about Dan Moore, right? And then we said,
stinky Dan Moore.
We talked about Dan Moore, and then I was like, all right, let me change it with Chuma or Morgan Moses or something like that. So, they got a lot of departures going on in the books. not the greatest departures. Mac Jones went to the 49ers. CJ Beathard, is a free agent. Dearness Johnson, wide receiver Devin Duvernay as well, with Christian Kirk being traded to the Texans. Duvernay was due for doo-doo. Christian Kirk, injury prone wide receiver, but got to replace him. Also, Josh Reynolds. It seems like the starting lineup just got out the door.
Yeah, I mean, most of their offensive pieces, at least, they overhauled. They wanted to keep a little bit of that foundation on the defense. Of course, a Trayvon Walker of the world, Tyson Campbell on the back end, people like that they wanted to keep. But yeah, the complete overhaul of the offense. I mean, losing, count them, 3 starters at least is what, and I mean 5 if you're counting offensive line with center and Brandon Sheriff, center Mitch Morris and Brandon Sheriff. So definitely a complete overhaul on offense. But when you have Trevor Lawrence, when you have Brian Thomas Jr., and you have the backfield that they got, I feel like starting fresh with those core 4 is what's going to get them good in the long run.
To be honest, I'm surprised Brandon Sheriff wasn't re-signed or signed yet. It says he's not signed as of current.
Yeah.
Reliable. He was drafted to be a right tackle, but swung into guard because he couldn't get. I guess he was just he couldn't get wide enough. I guess that's what it was. But yeah. Brandon Sheriff, I'm surprised he's not signed yet. Maybe he hops on with another team in this late period of free agency. You also got Ronald Darby and Andre Sisco that went to the Jets. Ronald Darby's just a free agent, and you got Jeremiah Ledbetter that went to the Giants. So.
Not losing much out on that defense, yeah.
And Evan Ingram, too, tight end, he went to the Broncos.
Yeah, good deal for them.
Yeah. Now, to probably, let me see, I believe this is the richest team.
Yeah, definitely the richest team as far as what we got here today.
You want to take it away with the Titans? I'll just go ahead and tell you that the cap hit is, the cap left is it's 55.957 mil. 5th best in the league still.
Yeah. I mean, in a great position to succeed for years to come. I think the Titans are, even with paying Dan Moore that bag. I mean, 4 years, $82 million. I've already talked about it prior stream, but again, I think in all actuality, it betters their offensive line due to movements they can make. Maybe Dan Moore, with his physical prowess, because he is a beast physically, he can put it into play and have some better years in Tennessee, but we'll see on that.
I said one can only hope he does better. Same time, he's battling for that starting role with that contract for sure. I just hope it's not going to be a whiff. I thought it might be, but also my needs for them are quarterback, edge, and wide receiver. I mean, they've been having really a nice free agency in my opinion. Cody Barton getting that 3-year, $21 million contract as well. Like the signing to replace those who departed, but Barton's issue is his speed getting sideline to sideline. Coverage coverage can be kind of iffy, but nobody's perfect. We're not superhuman robots here, guys.
I think it replaces well. I mean, it's a totally different player than Kenneth Murray is, right? Because we'll talk about him in a second. But yeah, I think it's a good strategy to kind of go away from Kenneth Murray's of the world, bad tacklers, who can move laterally, horizontally, however they want to move, however in open space, giving up these tackles. Cody Barton is one of the surest tacklers at the linebacker position. That's not a superstar, not calling out plays.
Okay. We also got long snapper Morgan Cox agreeing to a 1-year, $1 million deal. Cool, I guess, is what I wrote. Cool, I guess.
He's snapping
that ball. Let's hope we don't get some high snaps and issues when it comes to field goal kicks and punts. So, we also got Darrell Baker agreeing to an extension with the Titans. No picks last year, but a feisty physical player. I didn't really have much down about him. Didn't really notice much about him.
He's a solid depth piece in my opinion too. Nothing crazy.
Yep. Also got Sebastian Joseph Day re-signs with the Titans on a 1-year contract worth $7 million. Bringing him back was a necessary step for the Titans defense to improve. They were pretty good last year, so this signing kind of makes sense.
Yeah, most definitely. And it just provides more depth to that defensive front for sure.
Johnny Hecker agreed to a fully guaranteed 1-year deal with the Titans. Good upgrade over Stonehouse.
For sure. Even in his latter age, I think Hecker's still one of the top punters in the game.
Wonder if he can still throw dimes like he used to.
I mean, better than Will Levis, probably. So
yeah, better than Mayo Man. Let's go. Mike Brown agreed to a contract extension with the Titans. I didn't have anything to say about that one. What do you think?
Not much in that department. I mean, you still got Amani Hooker back there. You still have a really good secondary with L'Jarius Sneed. So I think that's just depth as well.
Yeah, now you got Xavier Woods on a 2-year, $10 million deal as well.
I think that's a good signing.
Yeah.
I mean, he played all the snaps for the Panthers. I believe he comes over as a better safety option than Mike Brown. That's for damn sure. So
all right then. Van Jefferson also signed a 1-year, $2.5 million deal with the Titans. An all right number 2 for them. I don't think he's definitely getting he's not going to ever be a number 1. I feel like it's
no. I mean, Calvin Ridley has a down and pat on that team, and I mean, even Treylon Burks, if he can stay healthy, he'll be the 2 over Van. But I think it's a fine signing, losing Nick Westbrook-Akine. So
that sucks for him. But at the same time, 1-year, $2.5 million deal, nothing crazy. It's not like you're throwing the bag at some washed receiver. But exactly. Also got Blake Hance, not Blake Handsome, Blake Hance, signing a 1-year, $1.3 million deal. Valuable depth piece in my opinion. That's what I observed when I was looking over him.
Yeah, I'd have to follow along.
Just about that. They traded Kenneth Murray in a 2025 7th-round pick to the Dallas Cowboys in exchange for 2025 6th-round pick. He was a reliable linebacker that could blitz the quarterback. Dude has speed. I don't know why he was traded to the Cowboys. I saw a Cowboys breakdown. They said that they liked the way he blitzed and he liked his speed and quickness. So
yeah, he's a physical freak, kind of like how I talked about earlier. But he's a former Charger, and just speaking from a fan base standpoint, he was my least favorite linebacker when he was on the team due to missed tackle upon missed tackle.
Speed isn't going to mean anything if you're just going to keep taking bad angles and tackling.
Exactly.
Draymond Jones agreed to a 1-year, $10 million deal with the Titans. Low risk, potentially high reward prove it deal. I like this signing. You can't really say much about having extra guys on the D line, good rotation in and out. See what happens.
Really good. Yeah, really good. I mean, a run stuffer as well. I feel like the Bengals were a team I was looking at potentially for Draymond Jones, just because he could really close those gaps and everything. He sheds blocks well. He doesn't really have as much pass rushing juice as you would want out of a D tackle. But if they can clog the middle up and disrupt plays, I think he fits alongside Sebastian Joseph Daywell, Jeffrey Simmons, and I mean, in the draft, Abdul Carter. Get him cooking.
All right, then. Also got Kevin Zeitler agreeing to a 1-year, $9 million deal. Good signing, nice upgrade over Dylan Radunes.
Yeah.
Heard he was butt.
Yeah, booty rocking everywhere, and I mean,
not the Bubba Sparks.
But yeah, I mean, Tennessee, they did a grandmaster job with their offensive line. Even if I don't agree with the Dan Moore signing, getting J.C. Latham at right tackle, Lloyd Cushenberry, one of the best centers in the league, and now Kevin Zeitler. That right side is going to go off. And with Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears, I think it's a really good running attack.
All right, Cushenberry. Pushing for the pushing. Oh, whoa.
Oh, hey, yo.
Quarterback Brandon Allen signed a 1-year contract with the Titans. Brandon who? Might as well have been Kurt Benkert.
Oh, Kurt Benkert is he's a trash backup.
Yo, leave him alone. I have him on my Madden Ultimate team as my starter. He's an 86 overall, and he actually isn't that bad at scrambling. So let's leave that alone.
They give anyone a car, bro. I give Brandon Allen a fucking 85 at this point.
Are you serious? Man, I feel like trash. When I was playing that stream with Brandon, I was like, Kurt Benkert, is he in college or something? I don't even know who the hell he is, but no, he's not. He's free.
Yeah, he's an analyst, dude. He does a lot of breakdowns and stuff, and honestly, not too bad because he does give that QB prowess. But as a player, no, definitely not it.
Wolf Tato with the whatever face that is in the chat on TikTok. It's like a dot line dot. They kind of just like a
Oh, it's a long face.
oh, you cushion for the pushing. We're just gonna roll past that. Yeah, we're gonna roll past that. We're gonna leave that alone. If you get in the comments and talk about it. Yeah, more cushion berry for the pushing.
Someone who needs more cushion for the pushing. Let's talk about some of these departures.
Got Mason,
old Brandon Allen.
Shoot, Mason Rudolph, Mr. Concuss. How about another? He needs more cushion for the pushing. Dude's definitely got CTE from Myles Garrett. He's probably about to get another one, saying some nonsense in his ear. Got Tyler Boyd as a departure. I haven't heard about him in a minute either. You know, Nick Westbrook-Akine. You know, I mocked him to a couple teams, I believe, in our previous streams as well. But he's with the Dolphins. How about that?
Yeah, I think you liked him with the Chiefs. Actually, the Chiefs were one of the teams you were looking at, and then there was one other that I can't bring up off the top of my head. But
it wasn't. It was an AFC West team, I believe.
Maybe the Broncos.
It was either a West team or I think I wanted to go to the Jets. Oh.
Yeah.
Our viewer says your eyes are looking very green today.
Thank you. I'm trying to catch the sunlight, trying to catch all of it we can with all the clouds here.
Must be nice.
Right.
Must be nice and warm there too. Hate it here. Tight end Derek Vinette. Daniel Brunskill. Dylan Booty Butt Randoons. He's out. Harold Landry went to the Patriots. Jerome Baker's a free agent. Luke Gifford's a 49er. Raekwon McMillan and son. Kenneth Murray is a Cowboy now. So got Daryl Worley as a free agent. Quandre Diggs is also a free agent. Stonehouse and Nick Folk are a free agent. Nick Folk, man.
Yeah, a lot of rearranging on that kicking team.
Maybe we should sign Nick Folk. Better than Zane Gonzalez.
He is 42, I think. I think he's so old that it hurts.
Yeah, I was about to say Matt Bryant was in his late 40s when he was still kicking. Same time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he was a solid kicker. So.
All right, let's go over some record predictions because that about goes over everybody. So this is before we look at schedules. This is before the draft. This is his post-free agency records.
Yep. I'm still more to go, so might change, but let's go right now.
Yeah, I'm going with Titans winning the division.
Can I say I'm crazy for kind of liking your pick?
No, you're not. What's up with it?
I think if they are to draft Cam Ward at number 1 overall, they go 10-7. They win the division, and they might not be a first-round exit.
I'm liking that 10-7 pick. Maybe Cam Ward can come on and show some flash of magic behind this revamped Titans team. Heard they trade down with the Giants potentially to get Abdul Carter and get that edge help that they so desperately need. So,
I mean, I could see that as well. If they don't address the quarterback position, I don't think there's a chance in heck that they pull off this miracle run that I think they're going to pull off. But I do think you get even a solid QB in there, and I think they take off.
I say maybe an 11-6 record because I'm going with Texans number 2 at 9-8.
Okay.
What's to say? He lost Stephon Diggs. Let me roll back to their departures and take a look at this. So they lost Stephon Diggs. Case Keenum really doesn't matter. They lost their pro left tackle, Laramie Tunzel. Also, Kenyon Green went to the Eagles as well. I mean, they're really digging themselves into a hole as far as trying to protect C.J. Stroud. And, they have that new offensive coordinator with Bobby Slowick not returning. They also need some extra help at wide receiver, I believe. So I'm going with like a 9-8, kind of a weaker division, but I feel like Titans gives them a fight. Um, yeah,
Okay.
really, Justin Watson replaces Stephon Diggs and Robert Woods. They got to do something in the draft, and honestly, I got to get versed with those picks. So we'll go ahead and see. Like I said, pre-draft 9-8.
9-8. Okay.
Yeah.
I think the Texans go 7-10,
Oof. All right.
and but I think Nico Collins is going to have a season for the ages, and he's going to be a locked-in top 5 wide receiver by the end of the year.
Yeah, but you don't think people can double them up with them not having a good, reliable number 2, maybe?
I think they do, but I mean, he had plenty of double teams last year. You look in the playoffs against KC, he torched them.
Yeah, deep crossing routes to Nico Collins. Take some out of Bobby Slowick's deal. Let's see what they do.
Yeah.
Deep crossing routes to Nico Collins is sure money fire, it seems like, against the Chiefs. But well, the Chiefs last year playoffs. So. I'm gonna go with Jags. Well, wait a minute. Let me take a look here. So they still have a decent amount of space left. I was thinking about Jags over Colts, but it might be it might be close. They might be fighting for 4th or 3rd place.
That's what I think too. I think it's going to be a competitive division.
So you said 7-10, but I said 9-8 for Texans. I'm gonna go,
Or I'll bump it up to 8-9. I'll bump it up to 8-9. 7-10 might be a little harsh with CJ Stroud QB. I'll go 8-9.
I'll go 8-9 for the Jags, and I'll go 7-10 for the Colts.
Okay. I respect that just because the O-line losses for the Colts kind of scare me. But I really like their defense a lot better this year, and I think they'll be more healthy. The Colts were injury prone as all heck last year, and I mean, who's to say that changes? But you could say that about any team. So I'll say the Colts also are 8-9, and I'll go Jags at 7-10, just because I think that offensive line and that defense is too much to overcome. And someone's got to finish last. So I'll go Titans. I'll go Texans, Colts, Jags.
I just said the same thing rather than Jags and Colts. So Jags before Colts. So
okay.
It is what it is, man. This is pre-draft. Anybody can come in and type in the comments of your opinions on what you think these teams are about to do. But it's about to get a whole lot more competitive than it was last year with that bum behind division lane.
Yeah. There's definitely some schedule swings, but better gameplay for sure.
Yeah, and there's not going to be a particular favorite over anybody. I believe it comes down to the last 6 weeks. So the last 5 or 6 weeks.
I would have to agree with that as well. A lot of the divisional games are stacked at the end of the year too for viewership reasons. So I could see that being the case. Last thing to kind of end on, and this is something we didn't talk about before stream, anything like that, but maybe some free agency grades thus far for these teams, and kind of if you were to grade them as you would on a report card, A to F, you want to go through and you want to list out your grades for these teams and how they fared?
Why don't you go ahead first? And I want to see what you pick on that one, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'll build off of those just because I didn't really get a chance to go ahead, you go first.
No worries. Yeah. I would say the Titans. I'll go B+ for the Titans. Or a B actually because of the Dan Moore signing. I do think again.
You hold that against them.
I have to, dude. I mean, $21 million for this dude a year for 4 years when you're committing a lot of guaranteed money to the man as well. I hope he proves me wrong. But I mean, I'll go B. Shoring up your defense again and your offensive line is exactly what you're looking for in a team that's rebuilding, just getting a new GM in place as well. So they'll set the tone for how they want to draft, how they want to build this team going forward. I'll give them a B. I'll jump to the Jaguars here. I like what direction they're going, and as far as the offense goes, I wish they would have gotten more on the defensive side of the ball and not just catering to Liam Cohen's vision of the team on the offensive side. So I will go a C plus for the Jags.
I kind of agree with that C plus rate. Like you said, they really didn't go much defense. They went more or less offense, but they did lose a lot offensively as well.
Yeah, and that unfamiliarity could be a potential problem. However, I think I really look at the lack of defensive moves over the offensive ones, because I do believe that Liam Cohen's system is going to fix a lot of that irregularity that you would see and kind of lack it. Exactly. And I think Trevor Lawrence will trust the offense a little more this year. And I'm not saying Doug Peterson was necessarily bad as far as offense goes, but his decision making at times was bad, and he did put a lot of pressure on Trevor Lawrence rather than the whole team.
Before you go to your next one, as far as the Titans go, I'm gonna go B- on that one.
Okay.
Only just for the fact that I don't like the fact that they let go Nick Westbrook-Akine go to the Dolphins just to get Van Jefferson. And I'm also looking at it too, like Mason Rudolph leaving just to get Brandon Allen.
Yeah, that doesn't do it. It's a bunch of lateral moves, and I can understand that.
Yeah, but I like the fact that they replaced Randoon's booty butt Randoon's with Zeitler, so that kind of gives them that B, and I go C plus for the Jags. Like you said, not really doing much defense there. What do you grade the Colts coming back in? They still have 22 million cap, so same thing with the Titans. They can do something, but there's not really many wide receivers out there. Same thing with the Jags. Not really many wide receivers you can go out there and get anymore.
Yeah, especially that admire being on the East Coast. A lot of these wide receivers who are free agencies right now want to be on the West Coast.
Yeah, I wonder.
Like your Stephon Diggs,
Yeah, I wonder why. I want to be on the West Coast too, but I can't. Yeah, maybe at some point. All right. So we got Colts. What are you going to grade them at? Still 22 million cap space. They still need linebacker and tight end, but they did a lot of picking up on that defense.
I would go B, because they address the biggest need on their team, which is that pass defense. Their run defense was a lot better than their pass defense, and the pass defense just tired out the whole team because it seemed like explosive play after explosive play. Brian Thomas Jr. had, I believe, 200-yard games on him. Nico Collins shredded them every time he was out there. And I think a guy like Charvarius Ward shuts that down immediately. I think he gets back to his 2023 form. And I just wish they would cover up their holes on the offensive line a little bit better. That's my biggest gripe. But they do have a lot of talent behind Will Fries, behind Ryan Kelly to substitute in there.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't really like the fact that they only went straight defense. It's either with Chris Ballard, it's straight defense or straight offense. Why can't it be both? But, I don't like the fact that they lost, Will Fries and Ryan Kelly. At the same time, you got Mo Alley Cox out of there, and then you also got Kylan Granson going to the Eagles. I kind of want to grade them at a solid. I said a B, right?
I said a B.
B minus.
B minus. Yeah, fair.
Yeah. B minus only for the fact that, like you said, they do have good depth to substitute for those players, but they didn't really make it. They didn't make too much of an effort to try to get it started, get a high starting caliber of each of those lineman players.
I get you.
Or a tight end as well, because you could have pushed for Zach Ertz, before, or no, never mind, he re-signed before. You could have pushed for anyone that was out there, but you just let Mo Alley Cox go and you don't really replace him. So now that's a need for you guys going into the draft.
Yeah. And then finally getting to this final team here, the team we started it all off with, the Texans. I'm going to be rough with this team.
I don't like it either.
I think they've had one of the worst free agencies, and it might be bottom 3 to me. I'm grading this a D minus.
I was gonna say D. You're getting a lot of special teams and depth players. You're not really getting anybody to replace a Xavier Woods or a Stephon Diggs. and your offensive line's losing pieces. Honestly, you know what? No, I'm changing it. F.
That's
You let C.J. Stroud's blindside Laramie Tunsil go. Ow. You let Laramie Tunsil go, and nobody replaces him. Now it's a need.
yeah.
Also, outside of Christian, you trade for injury prone. What is he? A slot receiver, I believe, Christian Kirk.
Hmm.
So outside of that, you have nobody. I mean, Nico Collins, yeah. At the same time, a solid number two outside receiver. You don't really have anybody,
Yeah.
and
And
the
yeah.
class is kind of weak, isn't it? As far as what's left from free agency and in the draft, right?
I mean, the wide receiver class in the draft is actually really stacked, in my opinion.
Oh, there you go.
Um, it's really stacked with a lot of positions, to be fair. Um, but yeah, as far as free agency goes, they're not going to resign Stephon Diggs. They would have done it a long time ago. I don't think they get a Keenan Allen because Keenan either wants to go back to Chicago or go to the Chargers.
Keenan's
Um,
getting Keenan's getting old and starting to lose steps too, as well. Bald head having bone.
Yeah, I mean, still a solid wide receiver and everything. I wouldn't mind him back on a team friendly deal, but that's neither here nor there. But a guy like Amari Cooper could be in the cards for the Texans
He hasn't been
because
signed yet.
no,
No.
and not many teams have been swinging hard for him. He didn't really finish the year strong after he got traded. Um, but yeah, I think you look at this Texans team and they whiffed on DK Metcalf. They tried to sign Deontay Johnson latter half of last year, didn't get that into any form of success.
But they
Now,
didn't.
yeah, now you have an offensive coordinator and he basically has nothing to work with. I mean Titus Howard as your starting left tackle should be a cardinal sin. Um, and I don't like anything the Texans did. I'll move it down to an F as well because you're talking me into it. I'm talking myself into it. Uh, Complete failure on the part of Houston.
All right, let me look into some of that breaking news or that news for today. Um, Obviously, you already broke the news about Kirk Cousins. I'm looking at Hassan Reddick ready to rebound from a bizarre year with the Jets. Dude literally requested to be traded like the minute he got there.
Yeah, he made it awkward. I don't really like that. And then, did you just see the Juju news?
Not yet. Go ahead and break it to us.
Juju Smith-Schuster signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. They're just keeping
Tick,
that wide
tick,
receiver core together.
TikTok boy is back. Oh wow, I just rolled upon it. And 49ers are obviously bringing back use check. I mean, how many people use a fullback like the 49ers and run heavy teams do like the Ravens would? So, um, let's
I think it's a
see.
great signing for him, and it saves them some money in actuality.
There you go.
So
People don't want to pay for their fullbacks anymore. Cooper Cup's obviously a Seattle Seahawk. If y'all didn't know about that one, 3-year, 45 mil contract.
yeah,
Um, Michael Hoyt, Larry Ogunjobi faces 6-game suspension for PED violations. The new Bills free agent signings. Six
yeah,
games.
both of them. They were doing that stuff together.
Oh man.
Right?
Oh yeah, they doing it
No,
together. They doing it
I don't know
together.
if they're doing it together, but that's neither here nor there. They shooting steroid in each other's butts. I don't know.
Steroiding each other's butts and throwing themselves at tables like Bills Mafia. But hey, look. Bengals making significant progress on new deals for T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. Let's hope they can get them paid because T. Higgins was massively disrespected, especially when they signed Gesicki.
Rumored that Jamar Chase is actually going to be the highest paid player outside of quarterback in the entire league. He's looking towards 41 million a year in base.
You paid him?
No.
I don't think I want to put that much money in that
Well, no,
receiver room.
I would if I'm the Bengals. I wouldn't pay T. Higgins. I would try to move off of T. Higgins and see what you can get for him because you can't pay both of them. And I'm choosing the Triple Crown winner. I'm choosing the top 3 bona fide wide receiver, and I'm focusing solely on defense after that.
Okay, and former Cowboy and just recently former Commander Dante Fowler to a 1-year deal with the Cowboys after DeMarcus Lawrence leaves in free agency, and with that to talk about start winning with DeMarcus Lawrence telling him to start winning, Oh my god, that was crazy. Some crazy Twitter beef right there. You didn't see it? Go take a
Michael
look at it.
Parsons. Yep.
Yeah. Um, Dante Fowler was butt booty cheeks in Dallas that first year with Dan Quinn. He came over to Washington and kind of excelled in our system. I mean, it's the same system, but
Yeah.
how do you think he performs in Mike Zimmer's defense? I mean, they're more of an aggressive attacking style defense. So what do you think? How do you think Dante Fowler goes and does over there?
I think it's solid. I mean, their defensive line is actually really good. Micah Parsons, kind of the hybrid edge linebacker type who can front in on blitzes and everything if they're engaging 6, 5, whatever you want to say. And then pair that with Osa um, and now
Osa.
Dante Fowler off the edge. I think it's a really solid defensive unit, at least up front. Can't say much about the secondary, to be honest with you.
Jo-
Um,
Josh Sweat's really happy about reuniting with Jonathan Gannon. Aims to make a difference with the Cardinals. See,
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see it. He took a pay cut last year to play with the Eagles. He seems to be a good locker room guy, and his production speaks for himself. I mean, he was one of the best edges over the past 3 years, I would say.
Miles Garrett does not regret. Yeah, let me talk like a Gen Alpha. Regret trade request. Goal remains to stay in Cleveland and bring that title there. So, and not really much to say on that one. It's like, oh, I want to trade. I want to win. Oh, you're offering me how much? I bet I'll stay.
Right? It comes to a point where winning is thrown out the window, and you're literally looking for the money.
I mean, you got to see it's a high contact sport, a lot of wear and tear on your bodies, a lot of weird facade, like a lot of weird diets, a lot of weird regimens to keep up with. I understand that. Take the money, but at the same time, you're taking that much money just to win maybe 7 games at the most in a year. So,
For
um,
sure.
Daniel Jones is eager to compete with Anthony Richardson for starting quarterback in Indianapolis. Uh, I hope he's eager. I mean, he's a former first round pick that literally got cut from the Giants after overstaying his welcome. Better be eager to take something on. I know you still want to play. Like I said, Duke can run, but he gets tripped up by his own shadow and he throws interceptions to cats. But Miles Sanders is also being added to the Cowboys staff and not staff, Cowboys room. And Chiefs are re-signing Kareem Hunt too, so I'm sure you guys could have seen those if you haven't been under a rock.
Yeah.
Let me see if there's anything else that we got here before we wrap it up for the day.
Maybe Mekhi Becton. I mean, 2-year deal to the Chargers.
There you go.
10 million guaranteed.
And you really like that move, don't you?
Really like it. He's a top 3 guard in the class, free agency class, and I feel like Harbaugh is going to have his way with him. He's huge, 6'7".
Have his way with him.
He's going to be Mekhiing his Becton.
Oh boy. Wouldn't be surprised in the locker room like that.
Oh god.
Can Michael Sam come and join? No, let's not.
Oh no.
Gardner Minshew is a backup to Patrick Mahomes. Chiefs are signing him. So let's go. Go with
Yeah,
that.
him and Bailey Zappi fill out that quarterback room.
I would rather have Carson Wentz.
I mean, Gardner Minshew, I would take over Wentz at this point, but I would not. I mean, Bailey Zappi as a third is kind of insane to me. So,
all right, Chet and Peyton, think about this quote right here. Mike McDonald said that Sam Darnold's best days are ahead of him. I think that's fine. Behind that Tully of a line, come on, man. You can't expect it. He's gonna be running for his life. And you saw what they did against him when he was heavily blitzed. He ended up freaking getting scared and seeing ghosts again.
yeah, and I don't think it helps either that JSN really. I mean, they added Cooper Kupp. Don't get me wrong. But this is going to be a worse receiver room than last year that he had with the Vikings. It's a worse receiver room that Seattle's having in comparison to last year. And you've only signed one offensive lineman who's more of a depth rotational piece. I don't like it at all.
All right, so I got maybe one or two more that we can break. Ben Johnson on offensive line moves. We want some tough, gritty, and dirty individuals, like ones who don't shower or what? Ones who don't shower, and then we also have Kenny Pickett views himself as the starter joining the Browns.
As of right now, I would agree. But, I mean, that's a sad reality.
And then
Pickett.
Yeah, Baron Browning returning the Cardinals. If you got a girlfriend who is a 10, why play around? So
Yeah.
I don't see the Cardinals as a 10, but Arizona's a nice place. Live there, buddies here or whatever, stays there. But Arizona is a beautiful place, but I'm not going to sit there and say that Arizona Cardinals are a 10. I'd say maybe a solid 6 on a good day.
No, they're definitely a solid 5-6. Yeah, I'd
All
say
right,
so.
and then the last one, because we already know about Jets officially releasing Aaron Rodgers. He's playing mind games with these teams right now that want to sign him. But Josh Allen wanted the extension to give Bill salary cap flexibility, chase a Super Bowl. So I said that in our AFC East breakdown. Maybe he takes a restructure, or a pay cut, or something like that, and he did. So
You got to make a deal. Yeah.
that was one pick that we got right there.
Heck yeah.
So, I mean, other than that, really, that's about. Thanks for liking Alive, guys. Call of Duty nerd, how you doing? We're doing great, man. We're just wrapping up our stream, kind of joining in a little late. Scotty Fitness, thanks for liking the live. Appreciate y'all, guys. Drop a follow, drop likes. You can subscribe to our YouTube as well and Twitch. We are live every Saturday, and we do some Madden streams throughout the week as well. But guys, it's been fun. It's been real. To quote my wife's uncle, it's been fun. It's been real. But our device does not want to talk to y'all no more. Now, we're good. It's been good to see y'all. Thanks for liking the lives. Thanks for being with us today on JDB Sports' edition. The final whistle, by the way, that's what TFW means. The final whistle, AFC South Edition. Next week, we're gonna get into the NFC Beast. My division's team, or my team's division. You ready to break that down next week?
Oh, so ready, so stoked. Let's get her done. More to come. And yeah,
all right.
Signing off from JDB.
Yeah, we'll sign off. Let's go. All right. Good to see y'all.
Peace.
Have a good one.